Hey everybody, welcome back to the record review. The long-awaited second studio album from Hayden Anhedonia's musical project Ethel Cain has finally just released. Is it any good though? Let's get right into it.
I'll never blame her for trying to make it, but I'll never be the kind of angel he
Willoughby Tucker, I'll Always Love You, to say the very least, was an absolutely moving, emotional roller coaster in a similar fashion to her first studio album, Preacher's Daughter. Many fans of the lore Hayden built around the Ethel Cain project through the EPs and the debut album hoped she would continue to do so on this album, which is now known to be the last project under the Ethel Cain pseudonym. Though the debut and Willoughby Tucker share the same lore, the differences between the two greatly outnumber the similarities. Where Preacher's Daughter saw Ethel Cain reflecting on her past love with a character named Willoughby Tucker, her religious trauma, and how her teenage naivety leads to her going away with a man that ends up taking advantage of her and killing her, Willoughby Tucker, I'll Always Love You acts as a prequel discussing Ethel's conflicting first love to Willoughby and how it sent her down a path that led to her eventual demise in Preacher's Daughter. The album opens up with a chilling track titled Janie that explores Ethel Cain's feelings about the fictional character, Janie, a close friend to Ethel in the lore, that drifted apart amid new romantic proceedings in her own life. The track sets the scene lyrically as she shows a possessive and almost jealous side of herself about Janie finding a partner, with lines like, "I know she's your girl now, but she was my girl first." This aspect of Ethel follows into the rest of the lore where her fear of abandonment leads her to a destructive heartbreak with Willoughby and her dependence on accompaniment on Preacher's Daughter with Isaiah. Musically, this opening sets the scene very well too, as she lets her storytelling be the pinnacle of the song like the rest of the album, instead of an immediate focus on impressive vocal melodies. Rather, she sings at a low, distraughtful level with layers of reverb added to invoke chills. It's this kind of reverb and emotional singing that follows throughout the rest of the album. Following Janie is Willoughby's theme, one of 3 instrumental interludes on the album. All 3 interludes are musically diverse, from pianos to walls of ambience to the beeping a lot of people weren't the biggest fan of, but I didn't notice very much, on radio towers. All of these instrumentals serve as an amazing breakpoint between the longer, more deep songs on this album. The first example, and maybe my favorite song of the whole album, only in contest with Nettles, we have Fuck Me Eyes. Fuck Me Eyes takes the perspective of Ethel Cain reflecting on another character within the lore by the name of Holly Reddick. Holly Reddick is this beautiful and enticing girl, popular at Ethel Cain's high school. On the song, she reflects on the hidden sadness even in being beautiful and popular. Much of the lyricism is intentionally unreliable because it relies on high school rumors, something I'm sure we've all experienced, though one lyric from the song stands out and is a central theme for her feelings about Holly. No one ever wants to take her home. The way Ethel Cain spends the song building up to this repeated lyric, where she finally lets her voice break from melancholy and hit some of her higher notes, just preceding my favorite part of the entire album, does so much and more for me. As previously mentioned though, this song was in contention for my favorite song with the other single from the album, Nettles. Nettles follows Fuck Me Eyes and takes a much more honed in, introspective, and depressing nature than the song that precedes it. Nettles calls back on the overall concept of the album about a conflicting and eventually failing relationship between Ethel Cain and Willoughby Tucker, where Ethel reflects on a very vivid dream she had about Willoughby going out to war where he was critically injured. The 8-minute journey of a song explores Ethel's emotions through these scenes and how she is both terrified about Willoughby's mortality as well as her own anxiety of emotionally disappearing even when Willoughby gets home from the war safely. In my eyes, I see this as a sort of metaphor for the two's love and how even if suddenly all of the couple's problems get solved, Ethel might not be emotionally present to be able to keep that relationship intact. Going on through the album, Willoughby's interlude shows the perspective of Willoughby and how he may like Ethel to an extent, but not in the same infatuation that Ethel has for him. Dust Bowl, a fan-favorite demo track from her SoundCloud, sees Ethel coming to terms with the one-sidedness and thus splitting the connection to an extent to Willoughby. Later, The 10-minute song Tempest goes into further detail about Ethel's realization about Willoughby's true nature and severing ties to a degree. She reflects on how Willoughby is inattentive to her a lot and even possibly entangled in other relationships. These feelings on Tempest and throughout the entire album then culminate on the 15-minute long closing track to Willoughby Tucker, I'll Always Love You, with the powerful Waco, Texas. Waco, Texas is not actually a song about the popular city in Texas that was home of the infamous siege. Rather, it equates the trauma within the city because of this moment to her own trauma in the relationship because of their connection coming to an end. Ethel Cain finally seeks an escape not only from this connection, but from her old way of life on Waco, Texas. Some of the final lines on this closing track just totally take me away and bring a good amount of tears to my eyes, like the reference to the house in Nebraska where the two met and where Ethel grew up in the story, and that is further discussed on Preacher's Daughter on the song A House in Nebraska, or the moving lyric, to be known the way you should is to put yourself through hell. Ethel Cain's second studio album, wrapping up the storyline under that name, is right on par with the genius songwriting and storytelling of Preacher's Daughter, with its own unique spin sonically. Instead, now favoring more of a broad, ambience, reverb vocals, and heartbreak, rather than the roller coaster of sounds and emotions on Preacher's Daughter. Willoughby Tucker, I'll Always Love You, surely will be one of the best albums of 2025, and I'm sure will only get better over time. I'm still processing the album as a whole and will be a very long time, but from where I stand now, I give Ethel Cain's Send-Off a high 9 out of 10. Thanks for watching. Comment down below what album you want me to review next, and have a great rest of your day.